I never saw you move so quickly.
Are you all right?
Well, this bad weather makes my leg jump a bit, but...
No, it's a joke. Another of your bloomin' monkey tricks.
Temper, Ames, temper.
I thought you really had it this time, but I never learned. Well, here you are. What were they, blanks?
Certainly not. 38 caliber specials. I have a reputation to consider.
Bulletproof, Ames. Said to be very useful.
Useful is hardly the word, Colonel. Indispensable. No police officer should be without one. Why, do you know that Captain James P. Monahan of the Chicago Police wears his to the opera?
We have no need for bulletproof vests, sir, either in Scotland Yard or at the opera.
The very words uttered by Detective Charles Palucci, age 26. Just before he was shot 12 times by members of the notorious O'Sullivan mob. He lived only long enough to regret them.
Detective Charles Palucci was not Scotland Yard.
Only 12 pounds, 4 shillings and a half penny?
A what?
Halfpenny.
Halfpenny.
Buy one, Ames. You've had some narrow escapes, you know.
No narrower than your own. You buy one.
Oh, this is D3, Department of Queer Complaints. The artists of crime, not the riffraff.
Of course, Colonel March would never be seen wearing an artificial aid to protect himself.
Ah, but it fits like a girdle, only higher up. No one would ever know you were wearing one, Colonel.
I would know.
Well, if either of you gentlemen should change your mind, here's my card. You can reach me at the Savoy. I'll just take this sample here. We also have this model in a lovely loud check.
Ames, how can you resist?
You spend your own money.
Well, remember Palucci. Oh, excuse me.
Colonel March, at your service.
My name is Pennicott. Basil Pennicott. The Basil Pennicott? Formerly of Singapore, Bombay, Suez, Casablanca, and Tangier. Welcome to England.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. This is Inspector Ames.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Do sit down.
I came over to open a branch of my business. Import-export, you know.
Alone or with a partner?
So far, alone.
Basil Pennicott,
That's right, Ames.
the murderer.
You must forgive his pardonable enthusiasm.
I'm used to being insulted.
The man's a murderer. He's got away with murder 3, 4 times.
5 times, to be exact, Ames. Once in each of the cities that I've mentioned. Each time the victim was his partner, and each time the result the same. No proof.
The deaths were officially recorded as accidents.
They were cold-blooded, premeditated murders. All right, you're in this country now, Pennicott, but you won't get away with it. I'll watch your every move.
I sincerely hope you will. That's why I'm here. I want protection.
Against yourself, I presume.
I'm not interested in your opinion, Inspector, merely your services. Someone is trying to kill me.
Really? Who?
I have a list of names here. They're all relatives of my various partners. I dare say most of them would like revenge of some sort.
That's no proof of attempted murder.
Since my arrival in this country 2 weeks ago, I've been shot at, nearly blown up in my car, almost pushed under a train, and yesterday I received in the mail a dead parrot.
Dead parrot? Well, why would that?
It died, I believe, from some kind of poison intended for me. So you see, Inspector, there's proof enough.
You'll get your protection when a crime has been committed and the law has been violated.
But by then it might be too late.
And that's going to break my heart.
I think I've been away from England too long. My conception of English justice has become perhaps a little too romantic. I've been neither accused nor convicted of any crime, Inspector. And therefore your opinion of me is based not on proof but suspicion. May I suggest you cast first the mote out of your own eye?
Ecclesiastes 12:16.
He's got a nerve. Protection, indeed.
Indeed.
The man's a common murderer.
Not common, Ames.
He's killed 5 men, and not once has he even been brought to trial.
True, true.
But what are you going to do about him?
Protect him, of course.
If you'll observe the parrot's beak, you'll notice a slight brown stain. I believe it to be poison, but of course you can verify that in your laboratory.
But this is the bird that arrived dead.
Yes, the poison was put on the beak in the hope that it would snap at me, break the skin, and kill me.
But it swallowed the poison instead.
Any fool could have predicted that it would. The method was that of an amateur.
I bow to your superior knowledge.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you. Have you any idea where the bird came from?
The brother of one of my deceased partners owns a pet shop in the East End. The address is on that list I left with you. The name is Hayes.
Ah, yes, Hayes. The murder of Edmund Hayes is the one case that I can't understand. Of course, the others are quite simple. You made them seem like natural death. But
Edmund Hayes' death was as simple as the others. He meddled with forces beyond his control and was killed.
I see. He was rash enough to interfere with you, and so you were compelled to...
You misunderstand me, Colonel. Edmund was a man of violent emotions, superstitions. He dabbled in black magic. On the night in question, he was preparing to summon some kind of devil. He invited me to be present. I had a gun.
Of course.
Of course. He summoned his devil at midnight, standing in an 8-sided figure of chalk which he'd drawn on the ground.
And the devil came.
Something came. I didn't see it. But suddenly Hayes' eyes widened. He flung up his hands and screamed. And then all at once, blood began to appear on him as though he were being stabbed by an invisible knife. I shot at the thing, whatever it was. The bullets were found later in the walls, but by that time, Edmund was dead.
Most ingenious. And you made the police believe that.
They had no choice, Colonel. There was no conceivable weapon, you see, that could have inflicted such wounds. They searched the room and me thoroughly. They looked in the desk, the filing cabinet. They ripped up the chairs. They searched outside the window. They even searched the people in the next room who swore that nobody had gone in or out.
Beautifully arranged. Your partner was stabbed to death by an invisible murderer with an invisible knife.
That's what the report said.
Yes. Well, I must be getting along.
You'll take the parrot with you, Colonel?
Oh, yes, the parrot. Yes, I suppose I might. You know, your office surprises me.
In what way?
By its simplicity.
An office is a place of work. No distractions. My place of work is exactly the same wherever I am.
Was it like this the night you murdered Edmund Hayes?
You try my patience, Colonel March. This office is identical with the one in which Hayes was, shall we say, killed by unseen forces.
Do you believe in the occult?
I believe in whatever works.
True. But if the occult works for you, it can also work for me.
Do you think I invoked the devil?
Oh, no. You are the devil. After you. I take it the death of Hayes was not altogether without advantage to you.
No, we'd insured each other heavily. But then I believe most partners do.
You profited from the death of all your partners, didn't you?
As they would have from mine.
Of course, of course. Well, I'll have the bird examined and let you see the report. You'll be in tomorrow?
I'm always in to you, Colonel.
Good. Very wise. Goodbye.
Look out! Look out! Will you believe me now? That was intended for me. Someone who knew I was due to leave by that door.
Yes. That was uncommonly good of you to save my life.
Perhaps now you'll be interested in saving mine.
I am. I intend to protect you from everybody. Except myself. please. I'd like to see Mr. Hayes. Hayes!
In there.
Ah, thank you. Mr. Hayes?
Yes, what is it?
Did this bird come from your shop?
You told Pennicott he can't scare me off.
Pennicott? Then the bird did come from your shop.
You can tell him he made a big mistake coming back to this country because I'm going to kill him.
Father, what do you want here?
I'd like you to help me if you would.
Who are you?
My name's March. My habitat, Scotland Yard.
Then he's dead. That's why you're here.
I hate to disappoint you, but he's enjoying the very best of health at the moment, except for one small thing.
And what's that?
He's convinced that someone is trying to kill him.
Father's upset. You can understand. You see, he thinks Mr. Pennicott killed his brother. But he'd never do anything.
Alice, don't try to cover up for me. Pennicott did kill Edmund, and he deserves to be killed himself.
But legally, it's his right, you know.
He killed my brother.
Shall we start again? Is this bird yours?
Yes.
Then why did you send it to Pennicott?
I never did.
Well, he says you did.
Then he's a liar.
Well, but you do admit the bird is yours.
Yes.
Then how did he get it?
I sent it to him.
Alice, why?
Why not? This is a pet shop. It's our business to sell...
Dead parrots? He claims the bird was dead when it arrived.
That's not true.
Got poison on its beak. If it had bitten him, he would have died.
He did that himself to throw suspicion on us, because he knows I've sworn to kill him.
As a favor to me, please don't. Oh, his death would be no loss, but then we'd have to hang you, and yours would be.
The law's had 5 chances at Mr. Pennicott. All I need is one.
I see you're going to be difficult. Pennicott will be attended to in due course. I give you my word.
What makes you so sure?
He made one fatal mistake.
What?
He came back to England.
And what does the law have in England that it didn't have in all the other places?
Modesty forbids me to answer that question.
Lonely? Oh. Well, there's your report from the toxologist. It was poison on that parrot's beak, all right. It looks as though Mr. Pennicott really does need protection.
Oh, certainly. Somebody's trying to kill him, all right.
Then I wish you'd mind your own business.
You know, it's got him worried, but not for the reason you think. It interferes with his original plan.
A plan to commit another murder?
Of course.
But who this time?
Me.
Well, if you want me, I shall be in Colonel March's office. Colonel March...
Oh, let me go! Let me go!
Go? You've come to the right place for a sneak thief. This is Scotland Yard, young lady.
I'm not a thief.
I suppose you just popped in for a phone call, eh?
Believe me, I didn't mean to. I was only looking for Colonel March.
And you thought you'd find him having a nap among his files?
I had to find out anything I could about the case.
Case? What case? Who are you?
I'm Alice Hayes.
Alice? You sold that parrot to Pennicott.
Yes. No. No, that isn't true. I lied. That's why I wanted to see Colonel March to tell him. Where is he?
I don't know. But if it's a question of time, I advise you to tell me.
It is a question of time. Of any second. That's why I'm terrified. You see, I know my father is determined to kill Pennicott.
He's been making no secret of that, I understand.
You know how people talk. When they're angry, they make threats and say crazy things they don't even mean. But I never dreamed my father was even capable of murder until I...
Until what?
I didn't sell the parrot to Pennicott. My father did send it to him.
With the poison?
Oh, I didn't say that. I mean, I couldn't swear to it. But Colonel March must stop him. Only I know how my father's changed since my uncle was killed. He was once kind and gentle.
Oh, excuse me. Yes? Oh, hello, Colonel. Well, you've had a visitor. Of sorts. Alice Hayes. That's putting it mildly. All right, Colonel.
Is he coming? I'll wait.
You'd better go home, young lady. He's going to try and talk some sense into your father this afternoon. Now, don't you worry. Goodbye.
Thank you.
I will not have you taking the law into your own hands. I told you to leave Pennicott to me.
He's not fit to live.
Agreed.
And you let a man like that walk the streets. And Lord knows how many others he's planning to kill.
But that doesn't give you the right to kill him.
It gives me the right to justice. An eye for an eye.
This is lunacy.
Lunacy? Lunacy, you say? If you had seen what I had seen, my brother lying in a pool of blood, and that fiend standing over him, touching him.
You were there?
In the next room, we were staying with Edmund. I shall never forget that sight.
Did he say anything before he died? Anything at all?
He called for water, that was all. But before I could even get him some, he was dead. And the monster who killed him, standing there spattered with blood. He should not live. Do you hear me? He should not live.
No, he shouldn't. Did you find any weapon?
No, we searched. Pennicott had a gun, but my brother was stabbed. There was no evidence at all. But he won't get away.
No, he won't. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Thank you very much. Now, please leave Pennicott to me.
No.
Then I shall have to take other steps. You see that, Constable? He's there for your protection. He has orders to put you under arrest if you even go within half a mile of Pennicott. That's you, Pennicott? March here.
Oh, hello, Colonel. What can I do for you?
I've been thinking about that experiment, in black magic that your ex-partner Hayes indulged in. I think I know how he raised up his devil.
Oh, really? How interesting. What about that parrot?
What?
I said, what about that parrot?
Oh, the parrot. Oh, yes. That was poison, all right. Oh, yes. Now, about that experiment, I'd like to show you how he did it.
Isn't that a trifle dangerous?
I wouldn't bother about that if I were you. If I could come over this evening.
By all means, I shall wait in for you.
Splendid. About 11:30, then.
All right.
Good. Bye. Strictly speaking, this particular devil should be raised in the open air. The best place, of course, is a churchyard. But devils like us change with the times and adjust themselves to modern conditions. There we are.
I thought you said I was the devil.
You are. But we must observe the amenities. There we are, just in time.
Are you expecting somebody?
Oh, just some guests that I invited. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all. I'd better let them in.
Yes. Come in, come in. Good evening. You've met before, I'm sure.
Good evening, Mr. Hayes. It's a long time since you were under my roof. How are the parrots?
No, dear me, Hayes. May I take your coat, my dear?
Thank you.
Ames, it's good to see you. This is Mr. Hayes and his daughter, Miss Hayes.
How do you do?
Pennicott, of course, you know.
Are you expecting more?
No, we're all here now, thank you. Oh, do sit down, please.
What's this all about?
Murder, of course. Anything that has to do with Mr. Pennicott of necessity has to do with murder. I've invited you here because I'm going to conduct an experiment exactly as it was successfully performed in the city of Tangier at midnight on June the 21st, 1952.
But that was the night he killed Edmund.
That's a grave accusation, Mr. Hayes.
This is a grave occasion for you, Mr. Pennicott.
What do you expect to prove by all this?
Who knows what will be proved when the devil is properly summoned? I'm going into that room with Pennicott, exactly as your brother went into a similar room with him that night. You ready, Pennicott?
I'm always ready.
After you.
March. Remember what you told me he plans to do. Be careful.
Why, Ames, I'm touched.
You have a flair for the dramatic, Colonel.
No more than your own. Your coming to see me was theatrical to the point of carelessness. Not like you, Pennicott.
I wanted protection.
Perhaps, but even more, I think you wanted me in your trap.
You were the one man in England I had to fear. And now, here you are.
Of course, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Shall I go on with the experiment?
There's really no need. But you can stay just where you are.
I wouldn't think of moving.
I intend to kill you just as I killed Edmund Hayes.
The Tangier method, I hope.
The same.
Ah, but Hayes got his words mixed up. Some of the wrong devil, and you appeared. But I know the right words. And I have a spirit that protects me.
Talk, Colonel. Talk? Or perhaps scream for help. I can kill you before you reach that door and still be acquitted.
How?
By my invisible knife.
Of course! A jagged piece of glass hidden in a pitcher of water. No wonder the police couldn't find it, when you could look right through it and see nothing. They thought poor Hayes was calling for water. He was only trying to tell them where the weapon was hidden.
Turn around. The situation is exactly the same. I shall even fire the shots to draw them in here. But you won't live long enough to say water.
Careful, Pennicott. Don't come into the circle. Remember my spirit. Yes, for your spirit. Colonel March, are you all right? Did he hit you? No. Are you hurt? No, he missed me, Ames. He missed me.
What do you mean, missed you? Those are bullet holes. Colonel March, you bought one of those waistcoats.
Well, now, Ames, I needed a little addition to my wardrobe, so I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone. Saucy, isn't it?
Colonel March, you weren't exactly facing your enemy, were you?